Welcome back to another episode of our Idols Aside podcast. We are up here in St. Louis today. We have got a special treat for everybody. We actually have, you've traveled the country, you've won a Grammy Award. This is Mr. Lloyd Nicks. He's a contemporary music artist, singer, songwriter, and man, we are so blessed. I know that you grew up fatherless, which obviously we're going to talk about today. But before we get into the music, before we get into all the things, can you just maybe tell us about the little kid growing up in East St. Louis and kind of what your childhood was like?
Yeah, so I was born in East St. Louis, but I grew up in the town over called Cahokia. It's like the suburbs of East St. Louis. So literally a 5-minute drive and you'll be in East St. Louis or St. Louis if you cross the bridge. So I grew up there with my older sister. She's 5 years older than me, my mother and my stepfather. Life as a kid was hard. I remember my stepfather, who's an amazing man now, he was extremely abusive growing up. And I know people are like, how can you say that he's an amazing man? He's grown so much, and we've been able to reconcile that relationship and heal from that. But growing up, he was extremely abusive because that was the only way he knew how to parent, and my mother was too broken to leave. And so here you are in a household with adults that essentially, they're around the same age I am now, and they're struggling with reconciling their childhood and trying to raise me. And we did not have a Christ-centered home, so there was really nothing to interject that. So it was just what Chaos. It was. And I could remember very vividly being so isolated as a child, being in my room playing with Legos for hours, creating my own world and dreaming about a time where I would just be happy and I would feel free. And it's kind of crazy that I can still feel that place like as if it's happening simultaneously with who I am now. Right. But I can remember dreaming about the day that I could be the person that I am now and feel the way that I am. And so honestly, it was very isolating. I grew up extremely overweight, so I'm 100 pounds down now. So going to school, you get, you're being bullied at school, and then you're being bullied at home. And so I just felt very different and alone and not heard, but I had music. And that's kind of where I found my comfort, and it was my counseling session, and how I kind of found my voice was in music. And not knowing that, when I was 14 years old, that I would be introduced to Jesus, and he would completely enter into my life and change the trajectory of my life. Yeah.
So how did you get introduced to Christ if your home wasn't Christ-centered?
So I had an uncle who wasn't raised in church as well, but his wife was, and she introduced him to Jesus, and he grew up in the drug culture. Shout out to my Uncle Tommy. He started to come around all of a sudden.
Not nephew Tommy off the Steve Harvey Morning Show.
That, but spelled a little bit more country. It's Tommie.
Gotcha.
And so my Uncle Tommy started to come around my 13th year of age. I was like in 8th grade. And essentially I was asking him, can I come over for the weekend? Because he had sons that were my age, my cousins. So I wanted to get away to spend some time with them, not knowing that what I was entering into was a totally different lifestyle than what I was used to. You see, my uncle had been married for a while. He had my cousins had both parents in the household. They were a loving family. He he was an elder in the church, and he actually cleaned the church on Saturday. So he would come and get me, and on a Friday we would go to the church on Saturday, clean the church, and then he outside of his regular job, he shined shoes at a barbershop. So we would go to the barbershop and spend the whole day at the barbershop with him shining shoes, and then turn around the next morning. He taught Sunday school, and we would be in the church early in the morning, the first ones to open up the church, have Sunday school, and then church, and then visiting churches. And you were in church all day. And I asked my uncle to come and get me one time, and from that day he came and got me every weekend. From that one time, he was back the next week, and then the next week. And so it turned into me going one time from my 8th grade year to my senior year of graduating from high school. My uncle came and got me every weekend. Wow. And it was during that first year, after sleeping for a year, one week I decided to stay up just because a girl that was there that I kind of liked, and I was going into my high school, my freshman year of high school, and I was actually up only because that girl was there trying to flirt. And it was that Sunday where Jesus kind of interjected the conversation, and it was through actually a testimony of a girl that was my age. Her mother was up. We didn't have praise and worship like today. It was probably 10 pews on each side going back, 20, 30 people in the church, very small, if even 20 or 30 people. That's kind of including like the kids.
Yeah, dang.
And we would have testimony service, and it was during that testimony that her mom said, "I'm so happy that my daughter decided to give her life to Jesus." She said it was just like asking God to just enter into her life and fill her all over again. And this 14-year-old girl, without any prompting, said, thank you, Jesus." And it was like for the first time I heard his name. Had been going for an entire year sleeping. In a very charismatic church, I was asleep. I think that's like brownie points that I was able to do that because it was loud.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's wild.
And then I woke up, and from her saying his name that time, it was like everything I needed and more was in that name. And I began to sob uncontrollably in front of this girl. And I decided to give my life to Jesus that day. And boy, we'll talk further into how that was, but
yeah,
everything got better and worse in my life.
Man, so that was 14. So first 14 years, you wasn't in church at all.
We were in church sporadically. I think we went consistently for like 3 or 4 months at one point. But we were just going out of tradition, Easter and Christmas, but we didn't really know who Jesus was. Right. I knew the name, but the concept of him being God, the sacrifice of what he did on the cross, how that interjects with us, how we can receive forgiveness and live for him.
Yeah, growing up, me and my family, we were never in church at all either. And so I would have said, especially growing up in Tennessee, that in the Bible Belt, I would have told you, I believe God's real, I believe Jesus is real, but I knew nothing about his sacrifice. I didn't know what he did for me, that I needed forgiveness. I didn't know nothing about that till I got into college, and I went to a Christian college. But yeah, it's cool that your uncle played such a big part in introducing you to that, and then that testimony. I think it's evidence. What did you say? It was like a year you were spending with your uncle. So that year he was really mentoring you. He was showing you that example. And for us at Idols Aside, that's what we do on a weekly basis with the kids. So like where I live in Paducah, we're in about 25 public schools where we are in a weekly basis mentoring boys and girls that are fatherless. And so we get to take our Bibles in and present the gospel to them, and we get to point them to a heavenly Father that never leaves them. But what you said is that is what I told you off camera, is that that's our heartbeat, is that we take kids hunting and fishing too in our lodges in Kentucky and Florida, but our goal is not to have more hunting lodges and fishing retreats and all those things. If we could have anything, we want people fighting for the fatherless in their neighborhoods, in their churches, in their jobs, in their communities. And that's exactly what your uncle did. He took a fatherless kid and now that he knew who Christ was and had been transformed by Christ, he said, "Hey, I need to pass this on to Lloyd." And Lloyd's opened this door to want to be in my home more, and I'm gonna take him up on that, and I'm gonna pick him up from school. I'm gonna do all these things. I'm gonna have him in my house all the time, and that I bet you would say probably set you up for that Sunday with that girl's testimony.
Oh yeah, my uncle became a father to me when I was at the house. Him and his wife didn't treat me any different than their kids. It was just amazing to see that and giving me a better example of how a family can function.
Right. Yeah, for sure. Now, did you realize you were missing something because your dad wasn't around, or did that come like later in life?
I certainly feel like I missed something because I felt like, you see, my real father had been in jail most of my life. He's been behind bars.
How old were you when he went to prison?
Before I could even walk or talk.
So really, since you was
and
little.
so I actually thought that my stepfather was my real father for a while.
I thought that for a while.
I didn't realize that he wasn't until around 5 or 6 or 7. That's when my sister kind of like, no, we actually have a dad that's in jail. And then he got out, and we spent a little bit of time with him, and then he went back to jail.
How old were you about then?
About 7.
About 7 when
then
he
went back to jail,
and
I didn't see him again until I was around 12. And then he went back to jail.
Yeah.
And I didn't see him again until around high school. And then that's when he went back to jail again. And that was the longest spurt of him being in jail till I was probably 30.
Yeah. Dang. And he's been out since
then? He went back to jail.
Dang.
And he just got out last year. And this has like been the longest he's been out. And probably because he is sick now, he has stage 4 cancer. So trying to grow a relationship with him at the same time, walking through the same thing. We'll get back to, my mom. She died from cancer. So,
man, in that season of your life of you just found out at 5 years old, you've got this biological dad. You thought it might have been your stepdad your whole time, but how did you process? What was kind of the emotions you was going through when you realized, oh man, this isn't my dad like I thought. I've got a whole nother blood father out there.
Honestly, I thought that he was going to be my Superman and come in and rescue me.
Because you were going through some stuff with your stepdad.
Yeah, and he did not.
Man.
So I had this idea of him rescuing me and somehow being my, essentially my savior from this life. And everybody in my family, my older cousins on my mom's side would talk about him like he's like Superman. And they would expect me to feel like he was Superman, and he just wasn't. And they would talk, and everybody would talk about how cool my dad was and how he was the man. And I'm looking at this through my lens, and I'm like, but where?
Yeah.
Like, because he's not showing
behind
up.
Bars.
Like, it just didn't correlate to me how much of the good things they could say about him, and I had no type of experience with him being that for me.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. Like, I never met my biological father. I met him at his funeral in 2019. And then I come to find out at the funeral, his brother's a pastor. He didn't ever try to get him to come, reach out to me. That pastor, that's my uncle, never tried to have any kind of relationship with me or tell me why my dad didn't want to be in my life. And then at that funeral, I remember him so boldly saying that he's like, Jeff loved all of his kids, and he looked at me, and I just remember being like, well, if he loved me so much, I'm 20-something years old now. Why? I'm not 8. From the time I'm 18 to his death in 2019, he had all this time. He could have tried and reach out. I'm a man now, and those emotions are hard to process. And I think that that makes me want to ask you, like, what lies did you start believing about yourself because your father wasn't around, or because of these things that people were telling you should be feeling, or, hey, your dad's this awesome? But were there any, like, lies from a young childhood, teenage years that, man, the enemy just really spoke over you, or people spoke over you that you said, man, maybe this is true? Like, for example, for me, my stepdad, I always felt like I wasn't enough. I wasn't good enough. I was, I felt like I was going to be a failure in life. I would never achieve anything. And so, was there any lies for you that you really had to overcome after your relationship with Christ?
Honestly, I don't know how much that played into him not being there, but there were a lot of lies that I believe. I always felt like I was an outsider, and people thought that I was weird, or I even felt like I didn't even fit in. I remember one time asking my childhood best friend, probably like a couple of years ago. I was like, hey, I have something I just wanted to just say and get off my chest. I remember asking him, when we were kids and growing up, even in high school, I always felt like you guys only included me because your parents made you guys include me. I always felt like I was the tag-along friend, and you were only hanging out with me because your mom and your parents thought that I was just like a good kid, and they made you guys hang out with me. And I always felt like I was cool kid adjacent. But actually, you guys, I was like the tag along.
Yeah.
I was
third wheeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he looked at me. He was like, "Are you serious?" He was like, "We actually thought, even for me, I can speak for myself. We actually thought that you were the opposite. You could dress, you could dance, you could sing. You were on your own person.
Life of the party."
They just thought that I was just unique, and they thought I was kind of like I didn't care about what other people thought, and I was just so comfortable in my skin. But I was actually
defining you.
I was very uncomfortable in my skin, and I thought that I was just like this oddball that never fit in.
Now, did you do some of those things, like the dancing and the singing and all the things that they mentioned? Was that like out of a hope of earning their approval or their love?
I just kind of like loved it, but I was like. And I remember 1 year, like 2 years, I tried to play I'm not basketball, but yeah, I told you earlier, I'm not running on purpose. That was even football. I was a lineman, and I was actually pretty good at football, but it wasn't my passion. I wanted to be in the choir, and so I actually tried to fit in and do those things. But essentially what won out was like my passion for music. So I was actually passionate about the arts and all of that. And even to this day, like some of the lies that the enemy tries to speak over me is that because my father wasn't there, and because I didn't have like a strong, solid male figure, even like my stepfather was in the house, but I don't think he necessarily fathered me. He took care of the household.
Might have been a provider.
And provided, but he was extremely abusive. He never spoke life over me and actually took me under his wing and fathered me. So I always felt like my mother was more of a center figure. So I never really felt manly enough. Like, because, essentially I'm not a sports person. Mainly because, my stepfather used it as a form of abuse, so he would make me sit and watch the game, and if I fell asleep, he would hit me. So it's like this resentment. Even like now, I can't even watch football or basketball. It's just something about it. It's just like it puts me to sleep.
Did you ever try to like live vicariously through you playing sports, like trying to fulfill something for him? I dealt with that some.
I was kind of like trying to fit in with my friends, because he just made it such a, like, he would work out every day, and even working out was a form of torture and discipline for him. So he would like make me run in the front yard, and other kids would walk by and laugh at me. It was like embarrassment to me. Like he would make me do push-ups and sit-ups in the front yard, and other kids would like be walking by, and here I am, this overweight kid that they would make fun at school, and now your dad is like being a part of that. Your stepfather is
fuel to it.
He's adding fuel to the fire of them making fun of me. So constantly, I think that lie that even like I was uncomfortable in my own body, that even after losing, 100 pounds, I still look in the mirror and it's hard for me to even see the smaller me because I just feel still like that
see the other image.
Overweight kid.
Man. Was there ever a moment in there where you thought, man, will I ever become anything? Is this all that I'm ever going to know? Is survival and this abuse and this cycle and this chaos all I'm ever going to know?
I had this thought of like, will I ever even be happy? But music, like once again, music and singing was my therapy and my way out. I never had a plan B.
So did you just like one day figure out in the shower you had a voice?
I could always. It's like it's always been a part of me.
Always been a part.
Since I could talk, I can sing.
Wow.
It was like literally a gift from God. And honestly, let me tell you this though. One thing my stepfather did give me was my love for music too. Because even though he wasn't a musician, this man loves music. He always had it playing from the time he got home to the time he went to sleep all weekend. And it wasn't just like it wasn't just hip hop. This man loved rock and roll.
Really?
So I grew up, this man from East St. Louis,
was an
the
AC/DC.
hood, listening to AC/DC, Journey, Phil Collins, Aerosmith.
Not in East St. Louis.
And then he would go to the concerts and then he would. Then on top of that, he loved hip hop. So he loved Bone Thugs and Harmony and Tupac and all these things. And I'm like, and DMX. And I'm like, he's just giving me all this musical download and love for the sound. Like I remember him listening to even country music. Like I remember one of my earliest memories is me being in my room and him blasting early in the morning, "Come to my window outside, way by the light of the moon." Like I remember hearing those songs and Phil Collins in The Air of the Night. Growing up, and then my mom, she loved music as well, but not as much as him, but she loved music. So on top of that, she's listening to Luther Vandross and
she's rocking out to some TLC.
Yeah, like one of my so the funniest thing, my first song I ever learned was "Baby Baby Baby" by TLC. That's my first song I ever started singing.
Man, what a millennial statement. That's so funny. Any Bone Thugs and Harmony for you?
Oh, bone.
Casey and JoJo?
Casey and all of that. Casey and JoJo. Let's go back to Jodeci before that.
Oh, man, Jodeci. Man.
Some of those songs we should have never been listening to.
No, that's funny.
Now you listen to the lyrics of it like, what was I listening to? What was I singing?
Hey, the Lord worked it all together for the good.
He did.
Yeah, he did, man. Since we're on the topic of music, I first came across your music, the song "Heal for You," and I know we talked a little bit off camera, just how impactful that song meant to me, and you really put it into words in a way that I hadn't thought of. Was you wrote those lyrics, you sang that song as something you needed to hear, and just tell us a little bit about that song "Heal for You" and what that has done and what that means to you and your family and as a father. Yeah, so essentially, I remember the first time I got like the idea of it, I was kind of just in the gym. And it was weird about it, I listen to worship music mostly in the gym, like people. So like I don't even know why I'm lifting weights. Who's getting you hyped to pump that weight? And
I'm literally,
who's your go-to?
And you don't really, and like they don't really realize that I'm listening to like Bethel or like
Waymaker,
Miracle, or I'm like in there. Like I'm like, you don't realize I'm about to drop this weight and just run around this gym.
About
like,
to take a lap. I'm finna take a lap.
And so, and then all of a sudden I just paused it because I just heard this melody. I'll heal for you so you won't have to.
Melody and the words?
Yeah,
and the
that's literally how I write. I hear everything. I hear the melody, lyrics. I hear the music. It's like I'm such a creative at heart that I just, when I'm writing a song, I'm actually painting and shaping a world that I'm hearing inside of my head.
Come on.
And so And then for a month, I would just go back and just write down these melodies and these lyrics. And I literally wrote most of it. I only had a couple of lines that I did not have when I finished the song with a couple of friends back in Nashville. But 95% of the song was actually already written. And I was somehow trying to find the words to tell my kids my story. Like, that's why the first lyrics are like, could you believe I was once filled with sadness, built the cathedral to hide from the pain. Like, that's me sitting in my room. I could picture this little boy sitting in a room that was probably, the room was so small, probably a 6x6 room. And I would just build Legos and build this, like, my own fantasy world, build a cathedral to hide from the pain, echoes of loss and the weight of the madness, trying to survive in a world filled with shame. But I had to let the light break through because I know what broken hearts can do. And so it was it was me writing a song for my kids, but also me writing a song for the little Lloyd too, the little boy that was in the room. Because I don't know about you, but like I say this so much. Like, can I get deep?
Yeah,
like with you guys? Like,
that's what we're here.
Like, I know this ain't Blurry Creatures, but I really do feel like time is like a concept of what we are, but to God, it's all happening at the same time. Like, while I'm talking now, I feel like I'm speaking even over my childhood self back in the past, and God is there as well. And he knew that we would be sitting here having this conversation. It's like, as I was writing it, I was even singing over my childhood self a song that I would need, that was in my heart and my spirit. And now
there's still an inner child that's
and
got to
now
be
I'm
healed.
catching up to that reality of me walking through what God was already preparing me for back then. And so I was writing that song, and little did I know, after finishing the song, I remember actually playing a little bit. We were actually writing another song with my friend Benji Coward and Chuck Butler, and I played him a little. Chuck had went to go make us some coffee. I was like, "Hey, listen to this song I'm writing," and I let him hear a little snippet of it. And he looked at me and was like, would you please let me finish this song for you? And we had like the second verse. I had started the second verse. We had to finish the second verse.
Still fleshing it out.
And then we had to add one line. I'll run through the flames so you won't know the fire in the bridge. And we were done with it in about 10 minutes.
That's it.
Yeah. And here I am. I write the song, and I started teasing it. Like, the first time I teased the song was actually at the Grammys in the house that we were staying in LA. I started to I teased a little bit of it, and I just started to post it every once in a while. And last year around December, I posted an old video of me singing it live at a concert around this time last year. And overnight, I'm flooded with these DMs and people commenting. And the video overnight went from like 10,000 to 100,000 to 200,000, like 100,000 views a day. And people are somehow following, like, so I'm getting like 3,000 followers a day. And I'm like thinking like, oh, you guys are going to be let down, because I am not that cool of a person for you to be following. I don't know what you're expecting. Like, my life is not this glamorous. Like, yeah, I'm at the Grammys, but I still live in the same house. I still live in this 2-bedroom, 1,000, if that, square foot apartment. We're in this place, thugging it out, making, ends meet. Trying to raise kids.
Leaning on the Lord.
Leaning on the Lord. He is my daily. He is the manna. Because I it's like more going out than what's coming in. And so here I am. I released the song, contrary to popular belief, when you win a Grammy, when you get a major record deal, money does not fall from the sky. It does not happen. I'm still trying to figure out how to provide for my family and to keep this going, grinding to take care of my family. And here I am, this song is going crazy, and here I am now with 30,000+ people on my doorstep looking for me to speak life into them, and I'm still trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
So instantly I learned that I cannot be a superstar. Like, I am literally just a follower of Jesus, a father, a husband, and a friend and a brother.
Yeah.
Like that's literally what I am. And so I just literally earlier, I'm like, hey, if you're following me and you're expecting me to be showing you this glamorous life, it's not. I may be getting a job in a couple of months, just like you.
Yeah.
On top of being a sign artist, I may be working at Starbucks or somewhere just to try to make,
just to make it work.
Just to make it work. And so instantly, that's who I am. It's not that much of a glamorous life. And somehow God has allowed these people to enter into my story, the messiness of it, to just show I'm just a human trying to figure it out just like y'all.
Yep. But man, I really think you're at the doorstep of something big that God is opening up to use your story. Because just as it affected us, that one song, and how impactful it was, as you process and as you work through what the Lord is working in and through you as a father, as a husband, as a disciple, as a worship leader, that's going to open the door to so much more. And people, like we've already said, they're so hungry for authenticity. And I think as they see the authenticity of whether you're a signed artist working at Starbucks or you're living the glamorous life, like people just want real.
Just want real people.
They want real.
And I think that this next generation, this new generation, wants that even more. And with social media making us more accessible, that old way doesn't work when you're hiding behind a label where they're paying essentially to give off this persona. Like, it doesn't really work that well anymore. Especially people just want real.
Yeah.
They want real music. They want people telling real stories that are like they can find. Like, I'm gonna do a shameless plug, common ground with you.
Come on.
And so they want to find the commonality and just to see themselves in you. And honestly, I'm not up for the game of manipulating people into thinking that I'm something that I'm not, into also fueling what social media does the most. It makes you think that you're never enough.
Oh yeah, you're getting that
like
highlight reel.
You are enough.
That. Yep.
Like, this ain't cute. This ain't squeaky clean. No. The same way with these millions of streams, I still some months am wondering, how am I going to provide? How am I going to provide for my family for the next month? Like, I'm still trying to figure that out in real time with you. On top of somehow being able, through the label, to record a $30,000 video and eating $2,000 steaks only to go home to an empty fridge. Like, that's the reality. It is not as pretty as what you think.
It's glamorous.
And I refuse to make it seem as pretty as it is.
That's good. That's the right heart. I think we live in this influencer culture so much, like with the kids that we are serving that are growing up fatherless. They're seeking, they're searching, they're trying to earn approval. They're trying to, some of them, we're trying to help them see, like, this lid that you're currently at in your life of chaos and brokenness and drugs and divorce and drinking and all these things, like, that does not have to be your story.
It doesn't.
That you can break that cycle, and as we're talking about social media and we're talking about influencers and talking about how you're being authentic. Like, what would you say to the kids that we're serving that are looking to all these people online of, like, I want what they have, but it seems too far out of my reach, or I just feel like all I'm going to be is from East St. Louis, or I'm going to be from the hood of Paducah, and that's all I'm ever going to know. And my mom might say she loves Jesus, but I know she still smokes weed. Like, can you just speak to them?
Honestly, I would tell them that they need to trust the process and live the life that God has placed them in, entrusted them in. A lot of times we're looking to these other people as goals to the point that we're actually delaying our destiny and who we're supposed to be. So we're actually not going through the process of what's meant to make us.
Mm-hmm.
And we're derailing and going after a path that's not even meant for us. And honestly, that path is only going to lead to destruction and failure and disappointment, because it's not meant for you.
Mm-hmm.
The path in front of you, the one that looks rough, the one that looks like it's got a lot of storms in front of it, that looks like the most unimaginable place that you don't want to dare go and you're avoiding, is actually the shortest route. Or route, whatever you say.
Yeah, it's all good.
It's shortest route to your destiny and who you're supposed to be. And so don't avoid the pressure. Don't avoid the heat. Don't avoid the uncomfortableness that your life has, because I promise you,
it produces.
If you allow Jesus to enter into that life with you, I promise you the other side is filled with so much joy, grace, gratitude, healing. But you got to allow him into the mess with you and then go through it, not around it.
Yeah.
A lot of us want to avoid what we're in, but that's not the way God works.
No. You wrote in that song, I'm trying not to screw the lyrics up, but, now I can see how the love of a father would lay down his life for a son and a daughter.
Mm-hmm.
As a father now, what's it like, because our desire, because we serve boys and girls,
Mm-hmm.
but like I mentor boys. We have girls that mentor girls. We don't do the guys mentoring the girls. But when I'm mentoring young men, I'm trying to paint them a picture of what their life can look like in Christ.
Yeah.
That, hey, your dad is in jail. Your dad, passed away because of a gang.
Yeah.
Whatever XYZ circumstances made them fatherless. There's still a pattern that needs to be broken so that their kids don't grow up fatherless.
Yeah.
And so trying to get them to break this cycle of fatherlessness, how have you done that? Because you're breaking those cycles.
Yeah.
You're not in jail. You're following Christ. You're setting your kids up for a better future, right?
Yeah. Well, certainly I had to get into a place that I had to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. In order for me to break the cycle, I had to choose things that were outside of what I was used to. I had to open myself to experiences outside of what I've already seen. Like, for example, the fact that I went to Greenville, a Christian college in the middle of nowhere, Greenville, Illinois, was so out of my comfort zone, because here I am living close to a city in a non-Christian home, and now I'm going somewhere where I'm studying classical music. Like, come on, I'm from the hood, and I'm studying classical music, but it opened up my world to possibilities.
Yeah.
You need to get into a place where you're allowed to wonder. Like, you're in a place where if you continue down a track where it's almost insanity, you're doing the same thing that the generation did before, expecting a different result. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
You have to choose and open up yourself to people like you as a mentor that are bringing them into spaces that aren't comfortable to you, but you need to embrace those uncomfortable spaces, because that's the only way that you're going to see yourself in a different light, in the wonder of in the possibilities of what your life can be.
Yep.
Like, you have to get yourself out of that space that only can show you what the generation before has had.
Yeah, you almost got to have something that shocks the system. Like,
You do.
Oh man, there
And now
is
here I am
something
now.
outside of it.
I'm traveling all over the country doing classical music, listening to Bach in households with friends that have totally different lifestyles as me. Like, even like after I graduated from school, I've just gotten used to being uncomfortable. Like, even going to Nashville and sitting in houses and seeing awards on the walls of some of my favorite writers, and like, you wrote that. And then now it's allowing me to, it restored the wonder inside of me to say, like, if God can do it for them, surely he can do it for me.
Mm-hmm.
And so it just challenges me. And so now I'm so used to being uncomfortable that uncomfortable feels comfortable to me.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Man, I think that's discipleship.
Yeah.
Like, if we are called to make disciples who make disciples, whether it's obviously our family first, we got to disciple our families, but then there's a lost world that needs to be reached and discipled. And so we have to be in the world, but not of the world. But we can bring them out of that and point them to a better life.
And then also, like, standing in the fire.
Yeah.
Like, you have to be comfortable. You have to learn how to be comfortable under pressure.
Mm-hmm.
And I've found that when you become a friend with being uncomfortable, that's when change starts to happen with your life. A diamond only forms under pressure.
Yep.
And you want this, if you want something different for your life, you have to go to places that you're under pressure. Not comfortable, not doing the same things your cousin's doing, not doing the same thing that your father's doing. No, you need to allow yourself to, and honestly, God opens those doors, but he's a gentleman. He will not make you go through them.
He's going to kick you through it.
It has to be you, honestly, sometimes just trusting the next step. He's only going to be a light unto your path and a light unto your path and a lamp unto your feet.
Yeah.
You only going to see the next step.
Yep.
But you got to trust that if you take that step, he's going to illuminate the next step, and then you take that step, and it's uncomfortable the entire time. But the only way for you to get to purpose is for you to remain uncomfortable. Yeah. And then once you reach the place that you think that you're supposed to be, guess what? He opens up another door.
Yeah. You know, it's funny you quoted. It's funny you quoted that scripture: "A light unto my path, a lamp unto my feet." Did you know? You know why he wrote that? It's because they had an open sewer system back then. And so if you didn't want to walk through crap, you better put some lights on your feet, some little candles on your feet, or you're going to be walking through some crap in life. And how true is that of us? We're going to walk through some crap, but if we have the Lord, if we have his word, if we're leaning into the Holy Spirit and listening to the Holy Spirit, when we walk through that crap, we'll know how to navigate it, but two, we'll know that we're not alone in it. Because it's life. Regardless, we're going to go through some trials, whether you're a Christian or you're not a Christian. I would probably say if you are a Christian, you're probably going to be attacked more because you're on the devil's radar.
That's the life of a follower of Jesus. When he says, take up your cross and follow me, and you look at the cross and you want an easy life and you just want to sit up and sip your coffee and say, I'm just happy with Jesus in the Word.
You got
that ain't been my life.
No, you got it twisted.
I'm either going through a storm, coming out of a storm, or in the middle of a storm, or going about to go into one. Like, that has been my life. But I've learned that the cross was not easy. So why through my Western Christianity thinking, when I'm looking at the internet and I'm seeing Christians,
rainbows and butterflies,
being burned at the stake, and I'm complaining about people talking about me.
Yeah. We've got our perspectives off.
The cross is supposed to hurt.
We're called to suffer with Christ.
It's not a baby suffering. No, like, you got to be willing to die for this.
Yep. Yeah, I wonder how many Christians aren't willing to suffer with Christ, or they just want to have the rainbows and butterflies.
They want it, but that's the life of following Jesus. There has to be, you have to bear your cross, and I don't know if I'm not saying it out of saying it. It's going to hurt like hell. Yeah, it's going to cost you something to follow Jesus. Yeah, it's got to cost you something. Yeah. But it's because that's what's making you. You're only going to be, like I said, the diamond only forms under pressure. You got to go through the fire. Yep. Like when you think about the like as you when it talks about coming out as pure gold, do you know the process of gold?
How hot it's got to get.
And then even after it's hot, it's still not done.
Got to beat it.
And then after that, you still got the impurities got to rise to the top.
Yep.
Then they got to scrape off the impurities. And the only way you know it's pure gold is if when you look into it, you can see your reflection.
Dang, I didn't know that.
So how is Jesus going to see his reflection if you're not willing to bear your cross like he did?
Man, that'll preach. Dang. Man. And he can empathize with us in every single way.
He can.
Even for the fatherless kid. Because when he was on the cross, he said, my God, why have you abandoned me? Father, why have you abandoned me? It's because as he took on the sins, our sins, the sins of the world,
he felt what
God
it felt,
had to turn away.
because God does not like sin.
He couldn't look upon sin in that moment. So Jesus, even if it was for a split second, knew what it was like to be fatherless. I wonder where his father
Now I
went.
can see how the love of the Father
Yep, love of the Father.
will lay down his life for a son or his daughter.
It's crazy.
So that's the juxtaposition of that song, Heal For You. Like, you hear me talking about me healing for my kids, and you healing for my kids, and then you hear the switch at the bridge, like, oh, you thought I was just some regular guy just healing for his kids. No, I can't do this without understanding what the love of what Jesus did for
the
me.
Father.
In the light of being fully God, God gave his self, his son,
Yep.
for me.
Lived a perfect, sinless life and still died a death we deserved.
For me.
Yep.
That I don't even deserve.
Yep. Yep. And that's the life we're trying to show all of our listeners, all the people, that, hey, God loved you so much that he did send his son.
He did.
And you might be able to quote that, but have you embraced that?
Have you really embraced what that looks like?
Yeah.
Have you really thought about that the debt was paid before you even did it?
Yep. Before. And for whatever you're going to do even after. After you give your life to the Lord, you're still going to mess up sometimes, but God's already forgiven.
And that in the light of the cross, that's what makes a heart turn away from sin. Not out of trying to be perfect just to appease him. No, the work has already been done. But because of the love and the adoration of what he did on Calvary, it makes a heart turn away from anything that breaks his heart.
Yeah. Yeah, once you realize that, you don't want any of those things that are
I
going to break
don't
his heart and
want,
grieves the Holy Spirit.
like,
You don't
why
want
would
that.
I do anything to hurt you intentionally?
Yeah, and if I'm being open, I still have to be super intentional about learned behaviors that I learned from my stepdad.
Yeah.
I have to catch myself to break those cycles.
Even with me, with my wife, I had to ask her one day, I said, sometimes I talk to you real reckless, don't I? She said, yep.
Talking out the side of your neck.
Like, literally, like,
Yeah.
I saw the cycle of how I talk because that was how I was talked to.
Yep.
So at the beginning of my marriage, I found myself talking, and I'm just going to be honest with you, at my wife, not to her.
Guilty.
Like, I'm talking at her, not to her, and I had to learn how to be more tender and loving and say, okay, I need to really die daily. Like, that's been my saying.
Die daily.
Die daily. Die daily. That means, like, when I want to say something, die daily. And everything in me is warring against my flesh to act on what my flesh wants to do. No, die daily. Die daily. I want to do this sin. Die daily.
That's humbling. I might have to steal that.
Yeah. It's literally literally this season that I've been in, I feel like I become closer to Jesus by reminding myself to die daily.
Yeah.
It's okay that you feel this unction to do something against the will of God and not do it.
Yep.
And that pressure, that war that you're feeling in yourself is you dying.
Yep.
Like,
It's actually wounds being healed.
Yeah, like, I want to do this so bad. But because of the cross and the joy that's set before me,
I'm going to die daily.
I'm going to die and resist my flesh.
Man, that's good. I think a good question is, can someone become an incredible father that never had one?
Oh, yeah.
and I believe that.
Oh, yeah.
I believe you can.
Oh, yes. Do I think I'm going to be a perfect father? No.
But you can be an incredible one.
I'm trying to, like, even with my, oh my Lord, like having, you guys know, having a 3 and 1 year old.
Yep.
Like, I find myself sometimes responding and having to apologize to my 3-year-old. Nobody ever apologized to me.
Yeah, I'm guilty. I apologize all the time. I'm like, son, you know I love you.
And my kid baby's like, it's okay, Daddy, with tears in her eyes.
Yeah.
Like, my daughter is seeing me in real time. Like, I'll heal for you does not mean that I'm perfect for you. It's that I'm going to humbly heal in front of you.
Yep.
Be humble enough to say when I'm wrong and I get it right.
Oh, yeah.
Right. And when I get it wrong, I'm going to be completely transparent with my walk with Jesus.
Yep.
And I don't get it right. Like, still, I get touched out. I'm tired of being touched and I get frustrated.
Ain't your love language?
It is, but at the same time, I'm tired.
Enough's enough.
You know how it is, like when you've been touched for 12 hours of that day, and it's getting late at night, and you still have someone hanging on your neck.
Yep. And you're about ready for bed, and you're like, man, I'm ready to crash out, and more ways than one, and man, but isn't it such an amazing thing to be a father?
It is. It is the 10 out of 10 recommend.
And hearing our kids say dad or daddy or
or
whatever.
as me, I messed up so hear me out. I started this thing when my daughter was younger. I would say, hey, I'm your daddy.
Oh, gave it a little British.
Oh my Lord, now she says it like it. Daddy. And like in public, people are like looking like, why is she saying it like that? And I'm like, it's my fault.
It's my bad. Careful with your words. They're listening.
It's my fault, but you learn. I learned from that. They listen and they're learning from you in real time.
Man,
they're learning how to forgive from you. They're learning how to be tender from you. They're learning how you and your wife interact with each other. They see it.
Yep.
They're not blind. They're not blind to it. They're very intelligent in understanding what a healthy relationship. They can pick up on social cues of how it is and how you and your wife are interacting.
Yep. They sure can. Words carry weight.
They do
so much, and with that, we literally serve hundreds and hundreds. We do evangelistic events that we'll have 1,500 kids. And we need to have you down in Paducah because we do one of those events and have 1,500 kids and so many of the kids that we're serving have never heard, I'm proud of you. They've never been hugged by a dad. Some of them think that their story is already written. Could you just look them in the camera and just speak life over them?
Yeah.
And just tell them something you wish you would have been told at 14 years old or 12 to 18.
Your life matters. Even if you feel so deeply the reality of where you are now, I promise you, if you let Jesus enter into your story, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's not going to be an easy journey with Jesus, but it's going to be one that's worth it. That you're going to see how miraculously God can take grief and turn it into something so amazing. You're looking at a boy that not only was raised in an abusive household by a stepfather, but I had a father that was in jail most of my life. And then I had a mother who was too broken to leave, but my mother was everything to me. And even after following Jesus, I lose her to cancer on my 26th birthday. And I go through a season of depression, suicidal thoughts. But through that season, going through it with Jesus, from grief, God healed me from every broken wound that I had as a child. You see, he specializes in taking broken things and making masterpieces. So trust him to do that in your life And I can say at the age of 36 that it is well with my soul, that I am the happiest I've ever been in my life, that my trauma did not make me into a bitter person, but my trauma was the footstool for joy. And I'm the happiest I've ever been. That I'm not a victim. I'm a victorious person through Jesus. And you can be too. And how gracious God has been. After healing, I finally opened my eyes to see that he had been fathering me all along. And he strategically placed so many fathers that I've not only had one father, I've had my uncle that's entered into my life and been a father. I had, at the age of 21, I had someone that decided to be my godfather and be a father. I have a pastor that's become a father. I had men of God that have came into my life in my older age and have fathered me. So he did not only, I missed out on that one father, but he gave me 4 or 5 fathers. Men that love me. So don't think that you're too lost and broken to be loved, but allow yourself to be loved and fathered. And I promise you, your life is going to be glorious with Jesus.
Amen. And I think that testimony right there for those that are listening, those that serve with Idols Aside, those that are in states that follow us and have asked, how can I get involved with Idols Aside? That right there is what we want you to do. We want you to go find the Lloyd Nicks in your community, down your street.
We need you.
In your church. We need you to go speak life, point these kids to Jesus, and be the person that we wish that, I didn't have an Idols Aside. I didn't have a mentor or a pastor come into me. And so praise God you had those 4 men that have come to you in those different seasons of life. But there's people behind that camera listening to this right now that have to step up and be the church. Don't wait for your pastor or your worship leader or any of the people that you think are in full-time
you
ministry.
You are the miracle.
You are the saints, and we are equipping the saints for the work of the ministry. And so once you have this knowledge, you have to do something with it. So just as those 4 men have done for Lloyd, you can do for the next Lloyd and the next Jace and the next fatherless kid, or that single mom that's out there and wondering how she's going to provide and work it all together, and she's afraid that her kids are going to end up in jail or in prison or do all these things and be failures at life, and feels like the weight of the world is on her shoulders. Like, go serve them. Go be the hands and feet of Jesus, and you can watch God change those cycles, break those cycles, and watch these young men grow up to be amazing fathers, to watch these young women grow up to have a godly marriage and find a godly husband that's going to lead them spiritually and lead their family and their children into the presence of God, into eternity, into heaven, so that cycles can be broken forever. Lloyd, man, thank you so much for taking time to be with us today. And can't wait to get to know you more and hang out. We got to do some stuff together again.
So we can.
Awesome.
Excited
Thanks,
about
guys.